Good day to you, partner. I'm Eve, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, Wheatsolo here, aka the Skeleton King. So, now that you know I'm one of the most intelligent people on the planet, and Rin is a woman who's constantly going through a time of the month, we have a big announcement. We're getting married.
Yeah!
No, we're not.
That's not what I
Blood
meant.
Golems were fixed, thanks to Rin's work. I'm actually the woman in the relationship. The only difference is he throws a lot of bitch fits, but he does all the work. And I'm the one who's like super cool and relaxed, and I don't let my emotions get to me, but I also don't do anything and I spend all the money. So that's kind of how our relationship dynamic works. He puts in all the work and bitches. I'm just here to get all the YouTube clicks, views, likes, subscribes, comments, and all the ladies. Oh, I get them. Oh, yeah. But literally, it's actually really cool. Blood Golems were fixed thanks to Rin. Blood Golems were incredibly squishy. We kind of thought it was just some mechanic we didn't understand with summons, kind of like why Iron Golems sometimes are incredibly tanky and sometimes they're not. But it was actually really simple. It turns out Blood Golems were getting no health buffs of their own. They were getting the health buff from like normal Nightmare Hell, but they weren't getting any health from their hard or soft points. And they also weren't getting any of their synergy health points. So basically, they had the health of level 1 Blood Golems, always. Soft or hard points combined. So they were incredibly squishy. Now, before people annoy me with, can I run Blood Golems now? I don't recommend it at all. I think they're always pointless. Technically, if you're some sort of support necro in a group, and you're really not concerned about helping them do damage, which, let's be honest, a lot of groups don't need the necro to do anything, to be frank. I'm not saying we can't help a bit, but we don't help that much. So if you're pure support necro, you got 20-point golem mastery. I actually think throwing out 1 or 2 blood golems would be a good idea. Actually, I'd even say that. I think it would actually make your play more consistent. Now, is it swag or cool? No. They do no damage because they don't splash. They literally are more pointless than skeleton mages. But the reason why I'd say there's some use to them is since they provide life on hit, you wouldn't have to scrounge for potions as much. And trust me, when you're playing in a fast-paced group, you have to scrounge for potions constantly. It's actually a nightmare. Blood War probably needs to be buffed again a bit. Maybe it was too strong Season 2, but in Season 3 it's almost as bad as it was Season 1, and it wasn't a fun experience. I understand it mainly had to do with solo play in Necromancers, but like, you gotta understand, when we're playing in a group, it's really hard to deal with Blood Warp in its current state. Alright, now, we talked about that. Blood Golems are fixed. Thank Rin. Give him a huge shout out. The guy puts in more work than me. Trust me, I'm just the cool guy. I'm the Alpha Chad Necro, okay? I don't do anything, actually. I'm not even playing this season. Renato's playing. Alright. So what you're seeing here is the nerfed Fire Golems, the 20% nerf to their, level 27 damage output. And then I recorded a video of me doing Lair, Bloodmoon, and then also at the end doing River of Blood again. And you might go, we've already seen that. Well, no, you haven't, because you haven't seen me do it with actual gear. So this is with an actual BIS setup. 2 caveats. It's technically not BIS, because I would have cores that would help me be tankier than I am. But I really didn't want to spend time trying to core these items to get the cores I need. So it's BIS damage-wise. There is one side note, there's a caveat. Technically, Ghost Flame could be better in some areas. And I actually think it'd be really interesting to test that out more. And I think I will if we get, some news from Canite saying, hey, he's going to look at our numbers and at least consider it for beta Season 4. That would be really, really, really cool. Just as long as they go, hey, we saw that you guys fixed Fire Golems. They were bugged. We'll at least change it so they're not bugged. Even that. Even just so they do damage that is appropriate to their tooltip at all. Which I know tooltips never rely on them. But again, what's going on with Fire Golems is a much different situation. It's just, I don't want to describe it again. You can watch other videos of mine if you want to hear me ramble on about it. So this destroys Bloodmoon. This Bloodmoon took me about 5 minutes. Not a complete clear. I would say like 90%, 95%, which is really good for a summon build. I have a Bloodmoon with Skellies where I cleared like 80 to 90%, and that's just kind of how summon builds are. You can't full clear, or else you're just going to waste too much time. So with Fire Golems doing 90 to 95% and doing it in 5 minutes, I think is pretty cool. Now again, Bloodmoon is like the easiest map in the game, as long as your damage is high, and Fire Golems do high damage. They're interesting because I actually didn't like cows being a skeleton summoner because you have to stomp in the pack to go quickly. The problem with cows is although they're very slow and have a slow attack and have awkward animations and suffer terrible frame recovery and all of these things that make them abusable by every class in the game, that doesn't make them abusable by a skeleton necromancer. So considering that they have pretty good range, you can actually get bodied by them because they do a lot of damage. So like you'll stomp with tanky gear and you'll just get smacked around. But Fire Golems have slightly more range than skeletons and still slightly more range than clay golems. So it allows you to play it a little more confidently. And this is the high point of the video. As you can see, I am using Weaken. It's almost unnecessary because cows are just the most poorly designed enemy in the game. Again, they were a joke enemy. If you want to know my opinion about cows, I think the map should be removed from the game or turned into some sort of joke map. I don't know, because I don't like people using it as a barometer for builds because it's so easy. It's not fair. You can't say, hey, my build's good at Bloodmoon, so it's a good build. Like, okay, sure, a lot of builds can abuse cows very quickly. So here I am doing River of Blood with cow mod, and I'm using Weaken. And I had a lot of fun playing this. As you can see, it's a bit slower than my BIS video, not by much. But the biggest difference is I can actually die now because I'm actually wearing real gear. So my idea going into this is I kind of formulated it halfway through. Is I'm going to cast 3 curses, stomp, cast 3 curses, stomp. I know that sounds very inane and why didn't you grasp that immediately? Well, it's not. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have Weaken and Decrep up when I get there. So I might actually change the order of my curses. And then I want to start cursing the next pack while my Fire Golems are doing damage. Now, it's not completely safe for me to stomp into a pack, even with Bone Armor, Weaken, and Decrep, but I do feel pretty safe. Now, at the end, I actually die, even with a near max Decrep, a very nice Weaken. I think it's a 42 Weaken. I think I actually have a 60 Decrep, and by the way, this is very good gear. Getting a level 60 Decrep is probably not obtainable unless you're like not going full fire, you're going like full skills, and like that wouldn't make sense, so sure, do that. Anyways, so I die, and I die in a little bit, but this is pretty much all I have to talk about. This build is good. I think it'll be competitive for a summon build. Now, my speed right now is nothing to write home about. For instance, I think I'm on like a 10-minute pace, or yeah, I think I'm on about a 10. No, because this is the halfway point, isn't it? It's a little bit faster on the way back. So I think I'm on a 7-minute pace. And Corpse Explosion can do 7 minutes easier than this. Easier, safer, cheaper. Now, again, if you want to talk about how I want to play Fire Golems AFK style, yeah, that would be very safe. It also would be pretty slow. So let's not even talk about that. It doesn't matter. If someone's going to play that way, let them. What I want to talk about for this final little bit of the video is hashtag thank you Rin, because you might give us a summon that allows us to actually play this game with any fluidity. It's something I've wanted. It's something some people in this channel have commented on. And you just can't get it with skeletons or clay golems because of their 15 frame lock. I love skeletons. I'm the skeleton king. I think they're fucking awesome. But they have limitations that make it so their playstyle is very clunky and awkward. Fire golems are our closest thing to getting around that, thanks to their 2-second, 8-yard proc that does a nice amount of damage. That doesn't rely on them, you know, their AI can be bad and they'll still do damage. Like, that's such a huge deal. Like, I don't think you understand that that's what makes them stand out. Like, look at them walking around like retards. But at least if they're walking near an enemy like a retard, they might do damage. Like, that's the reason they're actually faster. I just want you to know that. But the thing I wanted to bring up real quickly is banks and investors are trying to pressure OnlyFans to cut out pornographic content. I've never been to OnlyFans. I think I went there once, realized I had to give them a credit card, and never went back. I am a fan of Instagram, and Instagram loves to talk about their OnlyFans account. The reason I bring this up is because these banks are getting pressured to change their policy towards pornographic content, whether it be Pornhub or OnlyFans. These are the same banks that fucked over America in 2008 with their subprime mortgage toxic asset bundling, and they got paid 3 times for every house. So don't buy this. These banks are immoral, and it's not because they don't like porn. GG.